What's going on, everybody? So a different setting for today's video. I thought instead of sitting in front of a camera with a wall behind me, I'd sit in the garage with a 9.3 convertible behind me. I'm not sure how the audio will be in here. I feel like it'll be a bit echoey, and if it is, I probably won't record in here again, but we'll just find out and see. So today's video is on the Saab 9X concept, which might be the coolest concept car Saab ever made and the most practical one. And that's saying a lot considering the other Saab concepts that I've made videos on. You've got the Saab Aero X, the Saab Phoenix, the Saab 906 Turbo, all these cool concepts that I've done videos on. If you guys haven't seen those, there'll be links for that in the description. I highly suggest that you check them out. But I think that this one all around might be the coolest and just the most Saab concept of them all, if that makes sense. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about this car. So the 9X concept debuted in 2001 at the Frankfurt Auto Show, and in 2002 it won the Best Concept Car in the European Automotive Design Awards. So this car really had a lot of hype behind it when it first came out, and I got a lot of my information from an article that was published in 2002, so kind of like right around when the car came out. And the vibe that I got from that article was that this is a car that's going to be produced. Saab will be making this, and I'm not sure why it didn't get made. We'll talk about that later in the video. So the 9X concept was basically a combination of a hot hatch, station wagon, roadster, and a pickup truck. It was a car that was designed to do anything. It's basically like the Swiss Army knife of cars. So I want to talk about the most intriguing area of this car first, and that is the looks and functions of it and everything that this little car can do. So to start off, I'm not entirely sure if I'm in love with the looks, and I think the front is fairly unattractive. With that being said, this was just a concept, and production cars usually look different than concept cars, so if it was made, there's a good chance it could have looked much different. And from that 2002 article I mentioned earlier, one quote from it said, "For starters, the car's high shoulder line, narrow glass, low profile seats, and gigantic drive tunnel leave the driver feeling a little as if he's looking out of the mouth of an anaconda that has just swallowed him." So the inside was configured in a 2x2 formation, allowing room for 4 passengers, and there was a lot of green ambient lighting and countless sharp edges. And you see green ambient lighting in a lot of Saabs, specifically the 9.3, so this doesn't really surprise me that they went with green here. So I think possibly one of the coolest parts of this car, I mean, there's so much about this car that is cool, but it basically was like the first Tesla, if that makes sense, in the sense that it had a big center control screen on it. Now, granted, it does not have nearly the same amount of features that the Tesla thing does. It doesn't look as nice, it's not as big, but you gotta remember, this was in 2001 when this was debuted, so this is really cool that Saab was already thinking of this, putting big displays in their cars, or in their concept cars I should say, not their production cars. But nonetheless, the central console holds a vertical display with readouts for audio, climate, car, and office functions, each assessed through a rotary knob situated to the right of the sequential gear shifter. The front bucket seats are spare and sculptural, with the seat back hinged on a lateral support that allows the seats to be folded flat. The jump seats in the back, with the same folding design, extend the usable cargo floor so that the car can accommodate surfboards, kayaks, and other, like, I guess, equipment and things for the young active lifestyle, because that's what Saab was really trying to appeal with for this car. So overall, from what I read and what I looked at, it looks like it's a really cramped car inside. It doesn't look like it's very wide. It's obviously not very long either. So now let's move on to the exterior again. I want to go over a little bit more detail about that, and one of the designers of the 9X said, "We did not want a design that people would instantly love. Cars that people easily like grow tired of too quickly." And I really like that quote because it makes sense. If you buy a car and you're like, you know, it looks okay, you know, you're gonna get tired of it pretty soon. And I think Saab, for the most part, with their cars, did a really good job of designing modern looking cars. I've said it in previous videos, but the NG95 and the 2008 Plus 9.3 still look like new cars by today's standards, so Saab did a really great job designing those. So the 3-piece grille is obviously kept, but it reminds me of the 2006 to 2009 9.5 and how the headlights and the outside grille pieces kind of look conjoined. The rear doesn't remind me of other Saabs with the exception of the possible taillights spanning the length of the trunk, similar to the 9000 and 900. On the back, one detail on the taillights is the running lights built into the top so that when the gate is lowered, they serve as taillights. The car's claim to pickup status is based on the removable glass at the top of the sunroof and the extendable cargo bed, complete with cargo tracks, lockdown channels, and water repellent felt. Yes, all of that stuff actually worked, according to Saab. So from what I read and what I saw pictures of the car on, it kind of looked like it was supposed to have at least some sort of off-road capability. Now, I'm not sure if I really believe that, because I mean, look at the pictures, look how big the wheels are on there. That is not usable for an off-road car or any car that's not meant to drive on the street. Now granted, usually concept cars will feature big, super unrealistic wheels, so we could credit it to that, but you never know. So now I bet you guys are wondering, what's under the hood? What is powering this vehicle? So Saab built this concept with the intentions to put a turbocharged 3-liter V6 in, making 300 horsepower. I couldn't find any information regarding whether it was the V6 turbo out of the 9.5 from that time, which is a questionable engine, or if it was something entirely new. At first I thought it might have been the V6 out of the 9.3 Aero before I read about the displacement. It could have been an entirely new engine, but considering it was just a concept car and from everything I read I didn't really get anything about this being some new amazing engine, my guess would be it was the V6 out of the 9.5 because it's same displacement and it's also forced induction. So of course it also had all-wheel drive, which is great, and they claim 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, which is still great by today's standards. So when you look at the size of this car, it's very small. You think 300 horsepower, so this is a car that is very quick, along with being very practical. So it fits perfectly into that hot hatch segment. It's almost like a smaller hot hatch, because I feel like if you put this car next to like a Focus ST or a GTI, I feel like it's probably like a foot shorter, probably not as tall either. In the pictures, to me, it just does not look like a big vehicle, and I don't know if I really like that because I'm 6 feet tall. I struggle with headroom in my 9.3. I have maybe an inch or so, so small cars for me don't really do it. It's kind of ironic considering I have a Miata, but I can just get rid of the roof and then have infinite headroom. So anyways, let's get back on track. So why didn't it get made? That's the big question that I've been trying to think of an answer to, and that you guys have probably been wondering as well. And I couldn't really find any true explanation for why the car was never made, so my guess is as good as yours. My thoughts are that Saab didn't make enough money to fund it, as it didn't sell as many cars as they expected. Who knows though? If you do, please let us know down below in the comments, because I'm really interested to know. Maybe they found out that there just wouldn't be a market for it. Maybe they realized that the GTI and at the time maybe other hatchbacks were selling really well and they didn't really want to try and get into that market, and they thought that just sticking with like the 9.3, 9.5 would work for them, which obviously it didn't, but I don't know. I also feel like with all of the technology and features this car had, you don't get that with like a GTI, even new ones, so I think that this would be a car that might cost upwards of 6 figures. My guess would be at least over 50, 60 grand, because yes, it had 300 horsepower, which was way more than something like the GTI or even the Golf R of that time. So I feel like it wasn't even trying to compete with other hot hatches. It might have just been sort of in its own class, and I don't know if there really would have been a huge market for that. So I think that's going to end it for this video, guys. If you have any more information on this car, let us all know down below in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos here in the garage, or if you'd like me to go back to the other spot, and I'll see y'all next time.